We've been fans since day one. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
Welcome to Baltimore at beautiful Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The Blue Jays are playing very well on this road trip. 4-1 to this point, and John Gibbons' Blue Jays anxious to sweep the Orioles right here in this ballpark. They haven't had a sweep in this ballpark since 2010. Gibbons got a little different lineup tonight. He's resting some of his regulars, and he has juggled the lineup to the point where Justin Smoak is batting second. Down in the third spot, Enervis Solarte's had a terrific road trip. He's 9 for 14 with a home run and an RBI. But look at the walks. 7 walks on this road trip. He's been on base just about every time he comes up. Kevin Pillar is hitting in the 5th spot because of his numbers against the starter Kevin Gausman. The Blue Jays didn't do much against Gausman last year in his 6 starts, so they put Pillar up in that RBI position tonight.
They do get Kevin Gausman tonight. Makes his 3rd start of the season. He made a team-leading 34 starts last year, which was also a career high, and he tied Chris Archer for the most in Major League Baseball. He's reliable, big, and strong. He's off to a rough start this year, 0-1 with an ERA of 8. He limited the Yankees to 2 runs on 5 hits with a walk in 5+ innings in his last time out. He also picked up his 600th career strikeout in that game against the Yankees.
The infield for the Orioles, Beckham, Machado, and Scope have played every inning of the season so far, and there's that Gold Glover in center. He anchors the outfield.
4-time Gold Glover in the outfield, plays every inning of every game. You can count on him all the time. He's also had 7 consecutive seasons of at least 25 home runs, the first Oriole player ever to say he could do that. So both defensively and offensively, he's one of the elite players, I think, in the American League.
Free agent at the end of this season. He's had a terrific run here in Baltimore. So the Blue Jays won the opener here on Monday night, 7-1. They won a nail-biter last night, 2-1 behind Aaron Sanchez. Osuna picked up his league-leading 5th save. And Curtis Granderson had the game-winning home run. Granderson set. Here's the first pitch of the game. It's down and away for ball 1, and we are underway. Much nicer evening here in Baltimore. There's a ball 2. Gausman has had his problems in the 1st inning. Last year he had the 3rd highest ERA in the 1st inning among qualified pitchers. Off the plate.
And that doesn't help at all right there to fall behind that quickly. He says getting ahead is so important to a pitcher. 49% first pitch strikes. That's not going to get it done.
It's a borderline strike now, 3-1. Granderson's done a terrific job working the count. He walked in his first at bat in last night's game against Andrew Kashner. There's ball 4. Oh, my. My apologies to the umpire, Quinn Wolcott. The ball looked like it was off the plate. I think Granderson thought the same thing. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Granderson rips it into right center. A leadoff single for Curtis.
See, now he's happy that that ball was called a strike, because he could swing the stick just one more time. He looks very comfortable at the plate. Seeing a lot of pitches. He knows he's going to get a 3-2 fastball, and he's going to jump all over it. Singling into right field, and this is just what you were talking about, 1st inning troubles for Gausman.
7-game hit streak for Curtis. He's 10 for his last 20 over those 7 games. So Justin Smoak moves up to the 2nd spot. First time in his career he's hit 2nd in the lineup. There's a first pitch strike. Smoak's off to a good start, but it's been a while since he's hit a home run. He's got 8 games without hitting a home run. One and one. Smoak's just 2 for 11 against Gausman. We mentioned Gausman has pitched very well. The Orioles, in his 6 starts against the Blue Jays last season, won all 6 of those ball games.
Yeah, undefeated with a very good earned run average, about 1.5 against the Blue Jays. He got a little bit of a splitter. That one fell off the plate. They've made a couple of changes to Gausman from last year, second half of last season. He really turned it on from the end of June, beginning of July to the end of the season. One of the things they did, they moved him over towards the first base side of the pitching rubber. Help open up that strike zone a little bit better for him.
2-1 pitch. Down and away for strike 2. Smoke, we mentioned 8 games without a home run, but he's hit 40 home runs since the start of 2017. That's the most by a switch hitter in the majors. Reaches for it. Granderson had to wait on it. That'll give them time to turn 2, but Smoke legs it out. Good hustle by Smoke. It was a broken bat dribbler by the time Smoke got it. Granderson had to wait, so they got the lead runner at second. That's all they could turn.
Looked like a 2-2 splitter from Gausman. There's Granderson having to wait. Machado trying to finish it off, and Smokey beats that out. Got a start after that swing, that little half swing, and he's able to leg it out. Slow developing play.
The Blue Jays have done a pretty good job of staying out of double plays. They've grounded into just 7 double plays this season. Here's Solarte in the 3rd spot. He goes after the first pitch and pops it up. Tim Beckham in foul territory. He's got room, makes the catch on the warning track. 2 away. We mentioned Gausman made 6 starts against the Blue Jays last season. He had a 3-0 record personally, but look at his numbers. He was shut down against the Blue Jays, and the team won all 6 of those starts.
And he got into trouble. There's no doubt about it. He had plenty of base runners, but he buckled down when they got into scoring position. The opponents batting with runners in scoring position. Blue Jays were only able to manage 4 hits against Gausman.
Steve Pearce takes the first pitch inside. Pearce has good numbers against Gausman. He's 5 for 10. So you put Pearce in front of Kevin Pillar. These 2 should be able to come up with some magic tonight against Gausman. They've hit him in the past. Chance Sisco is catching behind the plate, making his 6th start. It's the first time this season that he has caught back-to-back games.
Came up with a big hit in last night's game. Showalter wanted to keep that bat in the lineup, especially against Marco Estrada.
And an RBI double in the 8th to tie it. 3-0 off the plate inside. Well, Steve Pearce hit a 3-0 home run down in Texas to start this road trip. There's numbers against Gausman.
So you got to figure he got the green light again. It was a game winner the other night on a pitch from Dylan Bundy. Taken all the way. First inning, I don't think there's any problem with that. You know, it's your first shot at Gausman. It's the first inning. Go ahead and take a look at another pitch.
Kevin Pillar is in the 5th spot in the batting order tonight. Back out of play.
Well, he's got great stuff. He's a former 1st-round draft pick from LSU, Kevin Gausman, back in 2012. Fastball splitter. Those are his 2 main pitches. He's not throwing as hard as he did a couple of years ago. He's down into the 91-92 range, but he's trying to get the ball over with a little bit more consistency. Slider, curveball, changeup. You'll see some of those, but it's basically fastball splitter.
Ball 4. Pearce takes a close pitch for ball 4. Smoke pushed to second base, and that'll bring up Kevin Pillar here in the 1st inning. The Blue Jays have only scored twice in the 1st inning so far this season. This is the 13th game they've played. They had a 4-run 1st inning against the Rangers, keyed by that 3-run home run by Kendrys Morales. That was on Sunday.
Well, they got the right guy out there. He has had his problems in the 1st inning. His highest career average for any inning is this one right here.
Kevin Pillar takes a strike. We mentioned Kevin's numbers against Gausman. He's batting .440 against Kevin Gausman, 11 for 25. Blue Jays have done a pretty good job of getting into the flow of the game, making a pitcher work, getting a good look at him. Gausman has thrown 20 pitches in this opening frame.
You know what they haven't done here the first 12 games of the season? They really haven't chased like we've seen them before. See balls out of the strike zone and you see them going after it. They've been very patient.
Ball in the dirt. Smoke holds at second, so Pierce has to stay put at first.
Oh, there's 3-0 counts just in the first inning. Excuse me, 2-1. 3-0 to Pierce. 2-1 now to Pilar.
Pilar just can't get big. He has been very short to the baseball. That's why he's off to such a good start, batting .295.
He should get a good pitch to hit here.
That's not a good pitch to hit.
Tough pitch to hit.
Even though it's a strike. It's 2-2 now. Now you got a battle. Mini 4-game hit streak for Kevin, 5 for 14. Saw Kevin hit a triple. That was on Saturday when the Blue Jays managed just 2 hits in that loss to Texas. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the first. Little flare over scope into center field. Smoke's being waved around third. Here's the throw from Jones. It is cut off. And Kevin Pilar delivers an RBI single, and the Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead.
When you put together your lineup, you got a lot of numbers that you can play with now if you're the manager. And I'm sure Gibby looked at that lineup, saw that they were facing Gausman. He said, you know what? In RBI situations, I want 2 hot hitters. You got Steve Pierce, who worked a walk, and then Pilar. You've been mentioning the great numbers he's had against Gausman, and he comes through again with a soft single to center field.
There aren't too many hitters in the Blue Jays lineup that hit Gausman, so you might as well bunch the 2 guys that hit him. That's what they did, and it's led to a first-inning run. Randall Grichuk. Randall is starting for the first time in this series. He snapped a long offer here on Monday night. In his only at bat, he hit a double off the base of the wall in center field. Snapped an 0 for 26. Again, that high fastball. The book is out on Randall Grichuk. The American League teams are pounding him with that high heater.
Pounding him with fastballs and up. What you can't do, you can't go up and get it.
Gifton Gope starting tonight at second. Grichuk strikes out. That ends the inning, but the Blue Jays break out on top, scoring in the first inning for just the 3rd time this season. It's been a problem for Gausman. Kevin Pilar delivers the RBI. Manager of the year, and he's done a great job here in Baltimore. This season they're off to a slow start at 4-8. Let's take a look at their lineup. Manny Machado's in the 2 spot. He got off to a bit of a slow start, but over his last 5 games, things have turned around for him. He's 9 for his last 21. Adam Jones against Marco Estrada. The Blue Jays started tonight is 9 for 30 with a pair of doubles, 2 home runs, and 4 ribbies. Marco Estrada has really done a good job against this Oriole ball club.
He certainly has in his career. This is going to be his 3rd start of the season. Last time out, 6 innings. That was against Texas. 7 strikeouts against the Rangers. Last year, he went 3-0 against the Baltimore Orioles, and they only hit .203 against them.
It's a high changeup. It's a ball and a strike to Trey Mancini. Mancini is living proof that it's not always how hard you hit the ball as far as how many hits you get. He smoked the ball 3 times last night, had nothing to show for it, and then the most pivotal at bat in the 8th inning, he popped out to the center fielder.
Hitting's all about timing, isn't it? Just couldn't come up with it when he needed it.
High fly ball to right. Grichuk is there, 1 away. Now John Gibbons has made some adjustments to his lineup to take advantage of the off day tomorrow. No Josh Donaldson at 3rd as Solarte gets the start. Randall Grichuk's back in right.
Yeah, that was the reasoning that Gibby was talking about today, that to try to give him an off day today. You got the scheduled off day tomorrow, so that's 2 days for Josh. So over at 3rd base, you'll have there Solarte, 6th start at 3rd base. He's had games at 2nd and shortstop already this year, but looks very comfortable at 3rd.
Donaldson is out of the lineup. Russell Martin the same. So those 2 veterans will have a couple of days off, including the scheduled day off tomorrow. Same for Devin Travis at 2nd. That's all by design. That was the plan, to keep these guys as healthy as possible early in the season. Plus, you don't want your extra guys to sit too long.
Yeah, Gifting Gope hasn't started for a few days, so it's a good idea to get him in there. He's on the team. Let him play out at 2nd base, get some rips against Gausman.
Two balls and a strike to Manny Machado. I mentioned Machado's last 5 games. He has a double and 3 home runs over those 5 games. That's going to be foul. Well, foul down the left side.
Yeah, and if you're Marco Estrada, you like to see that way out in front on that changeup. If you're reading bats, that's telling you that they're sitting on something a little bit harder than that, a fastball.
Strike 3 call, top of the zone with the heater. Machado checking with the home plate umpire, and indeed he is called out on strikes. 2 away. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Coors Light, official beer of Major League Baseball. Two away. Jonathan Scope. A lot of these Oriole hitters off to tough starts. Scope's just 10 for 53 this season.
I thought he had the key at bat in last night's game for Sanchez. Aaron had the bases loaded in a 1-1 game, and he was able to get a good hitter in Jonathan Scope to hit into a double play.
Came in the 8th inning after the Orioles had tied it. In fact, they broke up the no-hitter and had 3 consecutive hits, including 2 doubles. And then they walked Machado to set up the double play, and Sanchez delivered. A ball and 2 strikes to Jonathan Scope. Estrada strikes out a pair in the first. 3 up, 3 down, no problem at all. The Blue Jays have an early 1-0 lead here in Baltimore.
people want to know, what are the conversations like in the dugout? Well, on Monday night, after Jay Happ came out after 6, John Gibbons went over to Aaron Sanchez, Jaime Garcia, and Marco Estrada and said, are any of you going to get into the 8th inning? Well, the next night, last night, Sanchez went out and threw 7 no-hit innings, got through the 8th relatively unscathed, and so Aaron went over to his manager and said, hey, you wanted 8 innings? You got it. But Sanchez also thanked Gibbons. It was during his first start of the year against the Yankees that the skipper told him, hey, in big situations late, when the crowd gets into it, instead of pushing on the gas, let off a little bit, make the pitch, let the ball sink instead of overpowering it and leaving stuff flat. Sanchez did that last night to get out of the 8th, took a little off, and then had the laugh, the last laugh of the evening with Gibbons.
Well, he sure did, and you know what? John Gibbons doesn't get the credit he deserves for managing, and that's managing right there. Diaz goes after the first pitch and grounds out to the shortstop. Diaz hitting in the 7th spot, but John Gibbons going to Sanchez after that outing, we saw it firsthand. When he got into that tough spot, he was tiring. He tried to throw harder than throwing easier, and John Gibbons picked up on it and passed along that message.
Yeah, he couldn't find the strike zone when he was getting tired, and by his accounts, he said my legs were being tired, were getting tired, and I was trying to push my way through it. We got a chance to run into Sanchez after the game last night, and I asked him, I said, hey, did you break a sweat last night? Because it looked like you were under control, and that's what he said. He said, I felt like I was under control, and I was able to throw the ball softer and easier, and I was getting a ton of movement.
Great movement on his fastball, great movement on his changeup, and then Osuna capped things off for him. His 100th career save. This is Luke Maile. Luke's off to a great start with the bat. He's 4 for 12. He's hit 3 doubles and driven in 4 runs. And 0 for good measure, he's got a stolen base.
Yeah.
Catchers, we got to talk about stolen bases now.
3 doubles and 12 at bats. He's hit the ball down the left field line. We've seen him shoot the ball down the right field line, just being a little bit more aggressive at the plate.
There's that splitter for a strikeout, second strikeout for Gausman. 2 quick outs here in the 2nd.
Fastballs early in the count to get ahead, and then the put away pitch. That split. It's a pretty nasty one. Look at the movement right there at 82 miles an hour. Batters are hitting just 214 this year against that splitter.
So Gifton Gope, the second baseman, gives 1 for 10 so far this season. In Gope making his 2nd start at second base. One thing John Gibbons has done, he's made sure everybody gets into the mix.
And I think that's a great move, getting him in here. What young player wants to come and just sit around all the time? You want to play, you want to feel like you're part of the team. Heck, he might surprise you and do something special.
D'Amato Hale, the bench coach, is always bending the ear of John Gibbons, saying, hey, we got to get this guy in the game. He hadn't played for a while. Let's make sure we don't sit him too long. And that's the job of a bench coach, and these two have known each other for a long time. It splits pretty good this inning for Gausman.
The best way to hit the splitter is before you get to 2 strikes. Hit the fastball. So swing early in the count if he's going to challenge you with that fastball.
It's such a difficult pitch because, you know, obviously the name of it is split-fingered fastball, and it looks like a fastball. So you see it at a particular height. It's in the strike zone, but then the grip takes it out of the strike zone for a ball more often than not. Starts
to tumble just a little bit, and watch where a lot of these splitters end up going. They're under the knees.
Gope strikes out the high fastball, so a couple of strikeouts in the inning, 3 in the ball game for Gausman. Marco Estrada will face the middle of the order when we come back. a lot of different looks in their rotation, and each of them has a strength, and Marco Estrada's strength is his opponent's batting average.
The best of those four that we're going to show up there, 221. We mentioned that he's got a career 203 batting average against the Orioles, where he won 7 of his 13 starts against the Orioles. But you're right, diverse. There's guys who throw sinkers, there's fly ball pitchers, there's lefties, there's hard throwing righties, there's guys who can spin the ball. With Marco, he's an extreme fly ball pitcher, so if Josh Donaldson's going to have a day off, this might be it at third base if you want to rest him.
Adam Jones has had success against Estrada in the past. He's 9 for 30 with a pair of home runs. We have mentioned this in the past, but Marco Estrada does not go over a scouting report. He doesn't sit down with the catcher, doesn't talk to the pitching coach about how the game plan is going to be put together. That's left to the pitching coach, Pete Walker, and to the catcher, Luke Bailey. So that meeting lasted about 5 minutes today. Jones hits it to right. Grichuk is going to get there and makes the catch. The starting staff, in my mind, is as good as any starting staff in the American League. They are deep, they are diverse, and after their first 6 starts, things have turned around for them.
They're starting to show it too against some good hitting teams that they have put into slumps or kept them into slumps over the last 6 games. The ERA 3.5. You're going to win a lot of games when you have an ERA like that. Just 1 run here on Monday night to the Orioles and 1 run last night to the Orioles. Pitching staff is coming together. I think John Gibbons is figuring out the bullpen, what they want to do out there.
Good changeup. Estrada quickly ahead. Marcus Stroman will open things up in Cleveland on Friday night. And he is the leader of the pack in getting ground balls. There's a pop-up out into shallow center. Everybody converging on it. Pillar's coming in. He'll get there and make the catch as Alvarez is retired.
You see a lot of that from Marco Estrada. A lot of weak contact, a lot of lazy fly balls, guys off their timing at the plate. So the outfielders, they don't have to play deep because there's not a lot of solid contact, so they can take away those short pop-ups into the outfield.
This is Chris Davis, who is off to a tough start. Davis is 0 for 19 for the season batting here in this ballpark. His average for the season is 0.81, 3 for 37.
You know, this really goes back to the start of September of last year for Chris Davis, where he really has struggled in 37 games, a 136 average. And they've been throwing fastballs up and into him.
Estrada with another strikeout. 6 up, 6 down, and Davis continues to hear the boos here at home. Estrada with 3 more strikeouts so far in this game. Marco Estrada is dealing. Thank you very much, Jamie. Gary Sanchez was hitting 56 at the start of this game. He's playing bingo right now. And the lowest batting average among qualified players in the American League. Gary Sanchez, Jose Iglesias, Aaron Altier of the Phillies batting .074. Logan Morrison .074.
Bingo.
Bingo.
56. He was hitting 56.
56.
That's hard.
Curtis Granderson, he singled his first time up, was erased on a fielder's choice. Boy, he's been a nice leadoff man since coming to the Blue Jays.
He'll see his share of pitches at the plate. That's what I've been impressed with him. He never seems to panic, even when he gets to 2 strikes. Maybe he wasn't real happy with that call, so he let the home plate umpire know it.
High fly ball, shallow right. Scope is out, calling for it. Now it gives way to Craig Gentry, the right fielder, who makes the catch. Anderson's retired.
Now you can't let Gausman now get comfortable after that first inning. He didn't look very comfortable falling behind every batter that he was faced. The Blue Jays were only able to get 1 run. He's now retired 5 in a row.
He has that kind of ability where he can string together a lot of outs. Justin Smoak scored the only run of this game. Goes after the first pitch and bounces it to Beckham, who was over near second base. 2 up, 2 down quickly here in the top of the 3rd.
That's why I think first pitch strikes are so important, and Gausman's always been, towards the bottom of the rankings for pitchers in first pitch strikes. He moved over to the first base side of the pitching rubber. It seems to have helped him last year. Second half of the year, 7 wins, an ERA of about 3.5, and he had a 27% strikeout rate. That's more like a #1 pick.
And there is Solarte, popped out on 1 pitch his first time up. Got to make him throw a few pitches in this inning. He had an extended couple of first innings, and now in the 3rd inning he's been very efficient.
Yeah, 26 pitches in that first inning, and then he had a 1-2-3 second with a couple of strikeouts.
Off the plate. We mentioned Solarte with 9 walks in the season, 7 of them coming on this road trip. Swinging 3-0, and that is a fair ball down into the corner. Solarte will step on first and head for second, and he'll get there standing up. A 3-0 green light with 2 outs. Gausman just laid a cookie in there, and Solarte hammered it for his 3rd double of the season.
I don't know why hitters won't do that more often. You're getting a fastball, and it's probably going to be right there like that one. 92 miles an hour from Gausman, right there. And if you've got this type of pop, I don't know why hitters don't just let it go all the time. Get yourself into scoring position.
Again, that really is a result of the way this lineup is set up tonight. You give him a 3-0 count ahead of Steve Pearce. Pearce walked his first time up, but he came into the game batting .500 against Kevin Gausman, 5 for 10. And then Pilar, behind Gausman, has an RBI single tonight. So this has been a well-constructed lineup against Gausman,
who has had success against the Blue Jays.
Kevin Pilar with the RBI came on his 12th hit against Gausman. He's 12 for 26. Oh, 1-2. Fly ball to left, not deep. Mancini almost in his tracks is there to make the catch for the Blue Jays. Hit a 2-out double, leave a man in scoring position. We'll go to the bottom of the third. Beckham, Gentry, and Cisco to face Marco Estrada. April, and so far they have had a great start. They've won 8 of their last 10 after losing the first 2 to the Yankees, and they've pitched well. They hit some home runs, 16 home runs in the last 10 games, and their run differential is plus 24. Plus the clutch hitting, Pat. That's been a real key to their success.
Yeah, the runners in scoring position at 325. They've held the opponents to a 230 batting average, and they're averaging almost 6 runs per game. You're going to win a lot of games when you do those 2 things well. I like the game yesterday, how they gutted it out. They had the game. Sanchez was working on the no-no. They gave up a hit. Then they gave up a run. They got the big out against Scope and then came back and won. How to win those types of games.
Talking to Brooke Jacoby about that win last night, and he said, everybody asked me, well, how come you scored so many runs late? He goes, I don't know. Guys never give up. They just keep going up there grinding, putting good at-bats together, and we've got a balanced attack. Anywhere in the lineup, they can start a rally. There's no computer printout for that one. Like, how do you beat Kevin Gausman? I don't know. We haven't had much success against him, but tonight they've got a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, how do you score runs late in the game? Maybe you concentrate just a little bit more. Maybe you see a pitcher for the 3rd time.
Well, in this day and age, when everybody has put so much emphasis on the bullpens, it goes against logic. You say, well, those are the best pitchers down there now. They all throw 100. Well, Blue Jays have scored 27 runs, 7th inning or later.
I want guys who can really focus when the game's on the line.
Liner to center. Pilar does a good job. Got a read on that line drive right at him. 1 away.
The 2018 Civic. When it leads off, it leads for good. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
We're in the bottom of the 3rd. Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. Craig Gentry is starting in right field, and he can bunt. You can see Solarte at 3rd in on the edge of the grass. Estrada delivers a first pitch strike. Gentry making his 5th start of the season. He has started in left, center, and right, and he's facing Estrada for the first time.
He's a typical 4th outfielder type of player. You can put him anywhere in the field, and he's going to help you. He'll come up with a clutch hit every now and then. He can run. He's 3 for 3 in stolen bases this year.
Ground ball to short. Diaz has it. 2 up, 2 down. 8 in a row retired by Estrada. The Orioles are really scuffling, swinging the bats. They've scored 7 runs in their previous 5 home games. This has always been a very powerful team, and it will be over the course of the season. But right now, they're scuffling. Batting .208 as a team. This is Chance Sisco. He too getting his first AB against Estrada.
Yeah, and you want to win and get out of town before the Orioles start to heat up, because you know they will. This is too good of a team with too many veteran hitters, too many veteran players. That just shows you how tough his changeup is tonight. Buck Showalter, one of the best there is in the business at managing. He knows his team's going to hit.
Mentioned he's in his 9th season as the manager of the Orioles. Marco Estrada is looking to win his 2nd game of the season. Fly ball. Anderson was shaded near the line, but that's going to be out of play. Marco 1-0 with a good ERA. This is his 3rd start. We mentioned he's trying to win his 2nd game in just his 3rd start of the season. That would be the first time of his career. Last year he didn't win a 2nd game until his 8th start. 2016 it took him 9 starts. Here's that fastball that missed upstairs. It's a full count now. This is going to be interesting. This is a patented Estrada changeup count.
Yep, we saw it last night, all night from Aaron Sanchez.
3-2 pitch.
Challenged him.
Fastball, and he was late on it.
You can start to see some of these Oriole hitters start looking for the changeup. We've seen teams in the past do that against Marco. Actually sit on the changeup and adjust to the fastball.
Threw him another fastball and missed downstairs. That's the first base runner for the Orioles. A 2-out walk to the number 9 hitter. That'll bring Trey Mancini to the plate for a 2nd time. Mancini has been the leadoff hitter for the last several games for the Orioles. He's done a nice job. Before this game, according to StatCast, 10 of his 18 batted balls from the leadoff spot have measured 100 miles an hour or harder off the bat. He squared up some balls last night, 3 of them.
Didn't have anything to show for it. 3 long fly ball outs, 2 very good defensive plays by the Blue Jays. They asked him about hitting leadoff. He said, I don't care where I hit, as long as they pencil my name into that lineup. I don't care where I hit. They never did it until this year. What you don't want to do, I think, when you become a leadoff hitter, or you go into a different position, is try to hit like that. Place in the order says you should be that type of hitter. So if you're a leadoff hitter, you don't want to work the count if you're a free swinger. You don't want to try for singles if you're an extra base type of hitter like Trey Mancini. Just be yourself.
Mancini hit over 300 in his minor league career, so he has been able to hit and make adjustments no matter where he's played. He's behind now 1-2 to Estrada. And there's that great changeup. So the Orioles get a base runner, but they strand a 2-out walk. Estrada has 4 strikeouts through 3 innings. The Orioles continue to strike out. The changeup gets Mancini.
the Orioles clubhouse by playing chess. He's been doing that for a couple of years pregame now, although today Baltimore first base coach Wayne Kirby beat him. Kirby says their games get real competitive, real intense, and he said Machado made one mistake today that cost him. That's all it can take in baseball, too. Now, Machado's made the transition to shortstop this season, and he's been out quite early taking grounders most days. Coaches bark to him names of players and simulate where and how the ball comes to him. Machado said going through those situations makes you realize what you can and can't turn, what plays you can and can't make, and to be ready for whatever is going to come, just like a move on a chessboard, Buck.
That's great strategy to have him out here, and when they hit him ground balls, they'll holler out Pat Tabler or Buck Martinez.
Move
running.
in.
Got a lot of time.
Move in. You don't have to play
No
deep.
problem. And you know Wayne Kirby would use our names too.
Exactly.
They can't run a lick.
Kirby said he made one mistake. That one mistake was playing Wayne Kirby. The curve. Boy, what a character. Good baseball coach.
Terrific coach. Scott Coolbaugh to his left, the hitting coach. Pilar hits it to Machado. He knows Pilar's running, throws him out.
The Orioles do something, Buck, in spring training that's kind of been lost over the last couple of years. They take infield practice.
Yeah, they have to explain to the players what it is, but they accomplished it every day.
And I was asking some of the coaches, I said, okay, are you just talking about ground balls every day? They said, no, we'll get our ground balls, but Buck Showalter insists that we take a full infield like they used to. He says that's why we're always up there with the outfielders leading the league in assists. We've seen it already in this series where outfielders simulate in infield practice throwing home. The catchers simulate catching the ball like a game situation, and it's helped them defensively. It's always been one of the best defensive teams in the American League because they practice it.
Yeah, the infield used to be a big part of your preparation for the game, but not many teams do it. I know Minnesota did a lot in spring training too with Paul Molitor. 0-2, Grichuk struck out his first time up. But I think that's the one thing that has kind of been lost is the sound fundamentals of major league teams. Yeah, they're talented. They've got great players. They have great skills. But the fundamental keys are missing.
Team defense. Team defense, you've seen a lot of mistakes early on, messing up the cutoff plays, rundown plays, or whatever. And I think if you practice it, and people might roll their eyes now. Infield, who needs infield? It's great practice.
Fly ball to right. Gentry is there, the right fielder. Makes the catch, 2 away.
Hurry into Home Hardware Spring Scratch and Save event to save big for 2 days only on April 13th and 14th. Here's how.
That is Utah Street beyond the right field fence. A great atmosphere here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And Diaz takes one inside for ball 1. He has grounded out to shortstop his first time up. Top of the 4th inning, Blue Jays scored a run in the first. Kevin Pilar with an RBI single to center. Drove home Justin Smoke, who's batting in the 2 spot tonight. Pilar has had a lot of success against the starter Kevin Gausman, and he delivers again tonight.
Diaz had a fastball to hit, and his timing was messed up just a little bit at the plate. Fastball got in on him just a little bit. Look for another one. See how far you can hit it.
And the splitter just enough movement to take it to the bottom half of that bat. Two balls and 2 strikes to the Blue Jays shortstop. Chases that splitter in the dirt for a strikeout. Cisco puts the tag on him at home plate. 3 up, 3 down. Gosman is through the Blue Jays lineup, top of the fourth. It'll be Manny Machado, Jonathan Schoop, and Adam Jones to face Marco Estrada.
Customize your experience. To catch every moment this season, get Blue Jays home screen icons and features such as the MLB TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcast stats, news, and more. You can download MLB at Bat today. Guys?
Well, if you had MLB at Bat, you might know that David Price is out of the game with an apparent injury. He walked off the mound looking at his arm. He gave up a 4 spot in the top of the first. The Yankees got one in the bottom of the inning. It's 4-1 as they play in the bottom of the second at Fenway. Line drive to the alley, and that's going to get down. Pilar cuts it off, then he drops it as Machado gets the first hit of the ball game. A ringing double for the Orioles here in the fourth. Let's check it with Jamie Campbell. Nick Pivetta has been throwing the ball very well. He has struck out 4 through 3 innings. And Joey Votto, he just always hits. He's off to a bit of a slow start, batting .244 after that hit. So Jonathan Schoop with a man at second. Marco Estrada pitching to Luke Maile for a second time this season. Maile has caught Estrada twice, Happ once, and Garcia once. This is the 4th start for Luke Maile.
It's really interesting what we were talking about earlier, how when you go over the game plan, it's usually the pitcher and the catcher. But for Marco Estrada tonight, it was the pitching coach and the catcher.
Yeah, Marco doesn't care to have a scouting report. He doesn't want to go over the game plan. He trusts the catcher to call the game. He picked that up from Mark Burley.
And he just wants to concentrate on executing his pitches. It's not like he doesn't care. He doesn't know. I'm sure he knows what guys can do and what they're like. But the actual game plan, he's going to leave that up to Luke to call a good game.
Pete Walker has been very impressed with Luke Maile. He was impressed last year when he joined the team in April and kind of learned on the fly the pitchers. But this year he had an entire spring to learn them, and he has been impressed. 3-1 to Jonathan Schoop.
I asked Luke today, I said, did you learn anything last night watching Sanchez? And he was talking about, well, his changeup is a lot different than Marco Estrada's. His changeup, and he used it a lot last night, it's got a lot of dive to it, a lot of sink. Said Marco's changeup is a little bit different, so we're going to have to keep that one down.
3-2, nobody out. That's line down the left field line. Machado's going to come around to score. Schoop is headed for second. And we have a tie game. It's 1-1 here in the fourth. For Scope, that's just his second RBI of the season. It comes on his fourth double.
He was asked about the game yesterday, and Jonathan Scopes at bat in the 8th inning, and Buck Showalter says, look, I know he's going to hit. He's not hitting just yet, but he's going to hit. That changeup caught a little bit too much of the plate. He stays back just long enough and rips the ball down the left field line. Nothing wrong with his swing. He hasn't been able to barrel up some baseballs, but that time he will pick up the RBI, his second of the season.
Still nobody out. Back-to-back doubles for the O's. Adam Jones at the plate. He lined out to right field his first time up. First pitch fastball.
Second time through, I get the sense that the Orioles are sitting on a changeup, looking at the changeup and looking for that changeup, and they're taking the fastball. It looks like they want to go fastball once again. Fooled him.
Good call. That's on Luke Maile. He's got to pick up on that. And the object for Estrada, not thinking about calling the game, he wants to focus on execution. He doesn't want to put theory in his mind. Theory is up to Maile. See what we're going to do here now. Wheels are spinning for the catcher. Going to go upstairs again. Foul tip. Maile couldn't hang on.
Missed his spot and got away with one, and if Luke could have held on to it, would have been a strikeout. Every now and then, and Russell knows this, he's been around for a long time. Every now and then you can watch bats, and you have to be able to read bats. You can see the Orioles starting to look for that changeup and adjusting to the fastball. You know what we haven't seen yet is curveball.
Higher than high. And Jones strikes out. Boy, Maile did a great job. Not only did he call for the fastball up, but then emphasized it with his glove. Give it to me higher. Gonna miss higher. He'll chase.
It's a phrase that we picked up from Donnie Cooper, higher than high, and that's where you want it. It's one thing to throw the ball high in the strike zone, but in these situations, you want to go higher than high. And he does just that, executing that high fastball for another strikeout.
There's the curveball. Bounced into dirt. Pedro Alvarez hit a lazy fly ball to center back in the second. A run in here for the Orioles. Back-to-back doubles by Machado and Scope. Then you wonder, how can a catcher read bats of a hitter? Well, you can tell where the bat is when the ball comes into the hitting zone.
And how they attack it. Do they wait that fraction of a second a little bit longer on the changeup? Machado did. It looked like Scope was doing the same thing. Jones, so they fed him fastballs.
Percentages are with you as a hitter if you're looking for changeups from the strike. Two and one to Alvarez. Another changeup down and in. Fastball.
What does that tell you?
Changeup.
Look at something soft, so they crossed him up. In Marco's last start against Texas, he threw that changeup 32% of the time. So one out of every 3 pitches was a changeup.
Lays out that high fastball.
Not a bad idea.
Second walk issued by Estrada. So now there are runners at first and second. Chris Davis struck out his first time up. Marco has 5 strikeouts to this point. Davis is now 0 for 20 batting here at home. Blue Jays, 3 defenders on the right side of second. This is a cat and mouse game where Davis is saying, okay, I'm just going to look for that changeup, so Estrada and Melee have to make sure that they keep mixing things up. Throw him another fastball.
Sure looks like it. You can see when Luke stands up just a little bit taller in his crouch. He wants that ball up. Chris Davis, we've talked about it. He's got tremendous power. So you always have to, I don't care how bad he's swinging, you always have to be careful with him.
Change him. Not at the bottom of the zone. 2-2 now.
When you're going through these types of streaks, rough streaks like he's going through, what you can't do is go chasing pitches around the strike zone. I think you have to have a plan, and you got to stick to it when you get up into that plate. Can't be changing.
Drive to right. That's going to get down and go up against the wall. Scope is in to score. Davis will stop at first, and Chris Davis has his first hit of the season here at home. An RBI single.
Yeah, he had him fooled on another changeup. But he's so big and he's so strong, he can miss hit balls and still drive them off the wall to right field. Change up down and away. You can see how he stays back and one hands that ball to right field. Plenty of power. Short hops the wall for a single. Ball is hit so hard he will pick up the RBI. That's just his second RBI of the season.
Pete Walker came out to the mound to have a chat with Estrada and Melee. He saw something that got his attention. He went to the mound, so that'll be a charge mound visit. Runners at the corners. Alvarez is at third. Davis is at first for Tim Beckham.
Marco's not really a ground ball pitcher, but he needs one here. Get out of this inning.
A cutter there and missed upstairs.
The cutter was designed to get the ground ball.
Fly ball to center field. Pilar deep in center makes the catch. Alvarez tags at third. He comes in to score. Beckham picks up the sac fly, and the Orioles have a 3-run inning.
Just his 4th RBI of the season, and gave that one a ride. Pilar ran that one down. Beckham got off to a great start when he was acquired by the Orioles last year.
So now there are 2 outs. Craig Gentry, the right fielder, bats. Davis is at first. The Orioles got this inning started with a double by Manny Machado to the alley in left center. Then Jonathan Scope hit a double down the left field line. After a strikeout, Alvarez walked, and Chris Davis had an RBI single. Then Tim Beckham the sac fly. Gentry, 34 years old, began his career with the Texas Rangers.
See that swing?
He was looking for a changeup and fought off the fastball.
That's the game plan. Lets that ball get deep. He's choked up just a little bit, and he got beat with that fastball. Tells me he's looking for something off speed, so you can go cutter or curveball if you want.
Another changeup. 2-2 now, 2 outs. Been a long inning for Estrada. He's thrown 30 pitches in this inning. Blocked by Maley. Now it's a full count. So Davis, the runner at first, will be moving on the pitch. There are 2 outs.
Justin Smoke wondering, should he be holding him on? Do you want me to play behind him? He's going to be taken off now. Smokey's going to play behind him. I think that's the right move. You want to cut off anything that might dribble through the right side. You know Davis is taking off, so just stand behind him. When he takes off, you back up and give some ground.
3-2 pitch. There goes the runner. Lifted in the air towards right. Grichuk over into foul territory. Makes a nice sliding catch to end the inning. But the Orioles scored 3 runs on 3 hits, a walk and a sac fly. They take a 3-1 lead. Time now for a Blue Jay Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio.
BJ4911 to earn My Blue Jays points. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage, and the code must be entered by 4 a.m. Guys,
thank you very much, Rash. And there are Blue Jay fans here in attendance. It's been cool, not as uncomfortable tonight as it has been the first 2 nights, but still a small crowd here in Baltimore. Luke Maley goes after the first pitch and rips it up the middle. For Luke, that's his 5th hit in 14 at-bats.
3 of them extra base hits. He had knee surgery after the Blue Jays acquired him last year. It really took away from his ability to turn on a baseball. When you don't have your legs underneath you, that base in your swing, he just didn't have any pop. This year, though, he's healthy, feels great, and offensively, he sure looks like it.
Got 3 doubles and 4 ribbies so far this season. Gifton Gope, the number 9 hitter. Jumps back from an inside fastball.
He can look fastball right now if he wants to. And if you don't get it, just go ahead and take it. If you get it, think extra base hit. That's a slider. And I think he was just up there looking for the baseball instead of looking for certain pitches and certain counts. And he'll learn that as he gets older.
Gift hit .222 last year in 28 games with the Pirates. Little looper, Jones in center. He's going to get there and make the catch. One away.
Canada's favorite car cheers for Canada's favorite team. Honda, proud fan since 1977, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Kind of a comfortable night tonight compared to the first two nights here in Baltimore. Blue Jays will turn the lineup over now. Curtis Granderson is 1 for 2. Curtis has a good eye. He's very selective. Takes the first pitch down and away for ball 1. This is the 3rd start of the season for Kevin Gausman. His first start right here against the Twins. He surrendered 3 home runs, which is kind of unusual given the fact he's pitched so well in this ballpark in the past. He's got a 19-15 record with a very good earned run average of 365 pitching at home here at Oriole Park. But he gave up home runs to Dozier, Sano, and Eduardo Escobar to the Twins in his first start of the season.
It's a good hitting team, that Minnesota Twins team. They won a thriller today, 9-8. Gausman made the adjustments like we were talking about last year. He had a 270 earned run average over his the second half last year, over his last 17 starts. That's the 7th lowest in the majors.
It's all about adjustments, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's been a guy for about 3 years now that everybody said if he finally gets it, if he finally harnesses his good fastball and throws consistent strikes, he's going to be a big winner. Buck Showalter thinks that. This is a team, the Orioles, that if Gausman gets it together, Dylan Bundy, we like what we saw from him the other day, Cashner, and Alex Cobb's going to get a start. This is a team that's finally has some starting pitching.
And Gausman, as you mentioned, had a dramatic improvement after the All-Star break last year. He had nearly 6 prior to the break, and then he was good down the stretch, 341.
In the last 2 months, he got that under 3.
Alex Cobb is slated to start Saturday. There's a 4-game series at Fenway that begins on Friday. It's a wraparound weekend 4-game series against the Red Sox. There's a good splitter. The 2-2 splitter gets Curtis Granderson. 5 strikeouts now for Gausman.
Yeah, another long at bat for Curtis Granderson, but it's going to end up with a strikeout. It works like a changeup because he takes so much off of it, but you can see the split grip and how that rotation takes it underneath the bat.
Justin Smoak takes one up and away. Smoak is 0 for 2 so far.
Good eye.
Two and 0. Smoak has 2 home runs this season. They all came in the same game. Final game against the Yankees in that opening series.
He has become such a patient hitter at the plate, hasn't he? The last couple of years, that's confidence and understanding what pitchers are trying to do to you. Wonder if he's going to feed him a fastball here now, 3-0.
Smoak doesn't like to swing 3-0. He takes ball 4. So the second walk issued by Gausman. That will push Maley down to second. And that'll bring Solarte to the plate. Solarte ripped a 3-0 double down into the right field corner back in the third. He got the green light 3-0 and he ripped it.
And I think he's sitting dead red right here. First pitch fastball, be ready to drive in a run.
Boy, he was on it, fouls it off. Looking for that fastball. He's just a little bit late.
A little late, and you can see his body language is saying, I was a little tardy, but that was a pitch to hit. It was elevated, too.
Blue Jays trail by 2, 3-1 Baltimore. Center field, and that's going to drop. Bailey's in to score. Smoke stops at second, and Solarte, a little flare into left center, picks up the RBI, his 4th ribby of the season, and just like that, it's a 1-run game.
You know, both of the RBI hits by the Blue Jays came with runners at second base, and they weren't hit that hard, and I think that was to their advantage. Because this ball wasn't hit that hard and there's 2 outs, the runner can take off. If it's hit hard, I don't know if Luke's going to be able to score, because it was a soft single into the outfield. A one-hopper, he can make it easily. In the first inning, it was Pilar with Smoke at second base. And the Blue Jays fight back to make it a 1-run game.
That's how come the bottom of the order is so important. You turn the lineup over, get the big guys up there, and Luke Mailey's leadoff single is cashed in. Ripped to the third baseman. Pierce made a bid for extra bases. He's denied by Beckham. Boy, he was all over that first pitch and ripped it to the third baseman. Beckham. Solarte makes it a 1-run game with the RBI.
TD a couple of Thursdays from now, the Bringer of Rain t-shirt giveaway. First 15,000 fans in attendance receive that Josh Donaldson t-shirt. You can join pregame in the WestJet flight deck for live music and entertainment. BlueJays.com for tickets. A smiling Josh Donaldson out tonight. I spoke with JD this afternoon when he was on his way to treatment. He said with the off day tomorrow, an extra day can do him some good. His throw from third to first didn't really have pop on it last night, but John Gibbons insists nothing is wrong with the shoulder. Guys?
Yeah, just doesn't have the arm strength, and you can see he's cleaned up a little bit. Shaved and looking pretty good, having a chat with Jay Happ. Donaldson doesn't get a chance to visit with the pitchers too often. He's always out on the field.
I haven't seen him sit down all night tonight.
Yeah. So he'll have an off day tomorrow along with all of his teammates, and then he'll be ready to go Friday in Cleveland. Kevin Pilar in the alley, and it's over his glove. Chance Cisco hits it to the base of the wall in left field. Ball carried on Pilar, and Cisco has his third double of the season.
Second in 2 nights. He had an RBI double in last night's ball game against Aaron Sanchez. They're playing him shallow in center field to take away anything in front of him. But he gets beat by the hard hit ball. That ball took off. I thought it was going to hang up there for him, and he was going to make one of those patented running catches, but he just can't catch up to that one.
Leadoff double for Baltimore here in the 5th. Trey Mancini 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Bullpen is going to work for the Blue Jays. That's Danny Barnes. He is the first up tonight.
Bullpen's in pretty good shape after the start last night by Sanchez. And the off day tomorrow. They got some reinforcements yesterday with Tim Meza.
Tim Meza has joined the ball club. He threw a little bit of a side session today. That went very well. Osuna pitched the 9th. Happ went 6 in the opener on Monday. Jaime Garcia pitched into the 6th. There you see Meza alongside Tyler Clippard in the pen. Ideally, you'd like to be able to get Meza to pitch in a non-pressure situation. He hasn't pitched since April 2nd. That was way back in spring training.
Yeah, he's thrown a couple of side sessions, one in Buffalo and one here, the one you just mentioned about today, but he hasn't faced competitive at bats for 9 days.
Three and 2 to Trey Mancini. Manny Machado was on deck. He got things started for Baltimore his last time up in the 4th. And lead out double and scored on Scope's double.
Mancini's been trying to move that runner. And now with 2 strikes, just try and battle, and he does. Wins that battle.
So Pete Walker will take another trip to the mound. Estrada has thrown 83 pitches, so this will be a second charge mound visit. This is a 2-fold visit right here. Little time for Danny Barnes in the bullpen, and a meeting to help Estrada make an adjustment here.
Yeah, he's got a message. I mean, he obviously sees something that he wants to convey to Marco and have him put into the game plan tonight.
Well, he's got a dangerous hitter in Manny Machado. Machado doubled his last time, as we mentioned, over his last 6 games. He has 2 doubles and 3 home runs. First pitch fastball in a good spot.
Yeah, away. Keep the ball away. I think you'd be okay with them. They tried to go fastball up and in last time, and it stayed over the middle of the plate. That's the ball that he hit hard to left center field.
Fly ball to right. Grichuk with a long run, dives and can't make the play. It's a foul ball. Foul ball. Jeff Kellogg, the first base umpire, had moved out down the right field foul line, and he saw the contact made by Grichuk, and it occurred in foul territory.
Yeah, and Buck wants to take a look at this one to see if that ball was fair or foul. Right away, the crew chief, that's him right there, said foul ball, timeout. Ball slicing. Looks like it's going to stay in fair territory, but it kept slicing away from Grichuk. He dives, and that ball's clearly foul.
Well, they're going to have a look at it. The Orioles have asked for a video replay of this play, and certainly by what we have seen, it looks like he made contact with the ball in foul territory. But it's close enough for the Orioles. They want to have a look.
He called it foul. He was standing right there, and the replay shows that he touched that ball in foul territory.
But this is another one of those interesting reviews. If it is overturned, then where do you place the runners? You have to go back and look at that as well.
Where do you place the runners? Gritchik stretches out. It just ticks his glove, but that ball landed foul.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is not a favorable angle for the Blue Jays right there. So they have turned things over to the video review umpires in New York. Of course, there are 3 decisions that can be rendered. The call on the field can be confirmed, convincing, or the call stands, no clear and convincing evidence, or it's overturned. Clear and convincing evidence that the call on the field was incorrect. But that one angle did not favor the Blue Jays, that's for sure.
Remember where that camera was coming from. It looked like over third base, so the angle was, you know, you're right, not favorable. If you can get an angle right down the line, that one shot we had, it looked like it was foul by about a foot.
It is one of the more common reviewable plays, fair or foul in the outfield only, and it has to be behind the umpire, which it was. So Jeff Kellogg, the first base umpire, had gone out up the right field foul line to get a good vantage point. And he reacted quickly and called it foul. The Orioles and Buck Showalter wanted to have a look at it.
Meanwhile, Marco's standing out there and trying to stay loose.
You see Jeff Kellogg moving down the line, and that ball was tipped by Gritchik. It clearly landed in foul territory. The question, of course, is where the contact was made by Gritchik. Was it over that foul line?
Well, if it was, he would have called fair ball, right?
Well, he called it as he saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But he saw it foul. Video might have a different take on it. To me, it's a hard one to overturn. How clear can the evidence be?
That's where I am.
Buck Showalter's had a great record challenging calls. He's had 52.6% of the calls overturned. So he's got a pretty good, reliable video man that he trusts, and when he gets the go-ahead, they've had a lot of success.
They had a lot of practice in the series before this one in New York. They had 3 or 4 video challenges.
Well, this has taken a long time. Now they have the decision, and the umpire that made the call is the crew chief, Jeff Kellogg.
Or do they?
Looked like Marvin Hudson was ready to take off his headset. He's the next senior most umpire on his crew. But then if they're taking this long, it suggests that they might be overturning it, and now they're telling the umpires where to place the base runners.
Yeah, determining where the base runners should go. They all moved up. Machado stopped at first base. The ball didn't roll that far from Gritchik, and he got it back quickly. Well, we'll find out right now.
This is going to be interesting. Yep, they call it a fair ball. It's a fair ball, and they place the runners. Now Buck Showalter is going to argue that one of the runners should score. He wants to talk to Jeff Kellogg. He's going to say, if it's a fair ball, how come my guy can't score from second? So the review overturned the call on the field. And then that's what took so long. The umpires in New York looked at the video replay, determined where the base runners were when the call was made, and placed them accordingly. So they ruled that they're moved up 90 feet, so the bases are loaded.
I'd love to hear how they came to that conclusion, because it looked like that was foul, but we'll play it bases loaded, nobody out.
And Jonathan Scope doubled his last time up. The Orioles have a 3-2 lead, threatening to add to that lead here in the 5th. Got a looper into center. Kevin Pillar's going to play it on the hop. Mancini read it perfectly, and he was headed to score, but he got stopped as Cisco comes in to score. Scope with his second RBI of the game.
He was running right up the back of Cisco. Cisco wasn't really sure. Should I go back and tag? Because of that soft liner into center field. So he was at third base, and here came Trey Mancini running right up his back. Bobby Dickerson held him up. Look at the runner at third base. Mancini, you're right, read it perfectly, and they had to throw up the stop sign.
So that's going to do it for Marco Estrada. He is out of the ball game. He faces 4 batters here in the 5th. Doesn't get an out. Danny Barnes into the ball game to face Adam Jones. Innings. He allowed just a single walk, and then the Orioles, Machado, Scope went back-to-back with doubles in the 4th. They scored 3 runs in the 4th. They have added a run here in the 5th, and Danny Barnes is into the game with nobody out and the bases loaded.
You got to stop the bleeding right now. This is where John Gibbons likes to bring, and Danny Barnes has done a good job in his career holding opponents under 200 with runners in scoring position. He's got the bases loaded and nobody out. He needs outs quickly.
Adam Jones, the batter. First pitch slider. That's the same pitch he threw Jones in the opener of this series. Barnes has added that to give hitters a third pitch to contemplate.
I think if you're the corner infielders for the Blue Jays, you got to go home. Any ground ball with nobody out. Get that play. You got to stop the runs from scoring, stop the bleeding. That's why Smoke is in at first and Solarte is in at third base. If he hits it in the middle of the diamond, they'll concede a run.
2-0 to Jones. Fouled it back. Jones is 0 for 4 against Danny Barnes. They faced one another. And Jones made the last out in the 7th inning against Danny Barnes. He lined out to left field. Barnes worked an inning in that game on Monday. Gave up 2 hits, but no runs. Ground ball, foul. There was the changeup.
He's got a good one. Jones out in front. He needs a ground ball, a pop-up, or a strikeout.
The Orioles have a 4-2 lead. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th. There's a slider. Big strikeout for Barnes. Jones strikes out for a second time.
And that is why he picked up that slider. He said, I gotta be able to have something that goes away from right-handers. I think I've got a pretty decent fastball. I can command my fastball. I got a pretty good changeup. Now I need something else. Perfect execution of a slider down and away to pick up the strikeouts.
Pedro Alvarez has popped out and walked. First pitch changeup. Barnes has inherited bases loaded.
There's that running fastball up and away. Alvarez can hit some home runs, but he can also strike out. He seems a little bit more patient this year. Right, another one up there.
Laying off that high pitch from Estrada back in the 4th to draw the walk. Tied him up with that inside fastball.
He has just enough fastball to get in there, and then an outstanding changeup. His strength, I think, though, Buck, with that fastball is his ability to put it where he needs to. Up in the strike zone. He's got high spin rate.
Bounce the changeup in the dirt. Two balls and 2 strikes, 1 out. A run in here in the 5th. The Orioles have a 4-2 lead. I think he threw him another breaking ball.
Changeup, 79 miles an hour. And it backed up on him. It looked like Pedro Alvarez was double clutched. He wants to swing, he stops, he wants to swing again, and he's still late.
Good changeup. There you see the grip, take the velocity off that fastball arm action, and the changeup. It's a big strikeout. 2 strikeouts for Barnes. Chris Davis. Davis just 0 for 1 against Danny Barnes.
Just off the plate. Barnes trying to work his magic.
Davis had an RBI single in the 4th. That snapped an 0 for 20 batting here at home. Just his 4th hit of the season. 2-0. High fly ball to center. Pilar is back, and he'll get there and make the catch. What a job by Danny Barnes. He inherits the bases loaded. Strikes out Jones, strikes out Alvarez, and gets Davis to fly out to center to keep it a 2-run game. Well, that's a new one. He left the game with a sensation. We have major injuries and common soreness, general soreness, and now we have sensations. He's out of the game. Something is not right with Price, and he left the ball game. Well, the Blue Jays, what a job by Danny Barnes. Last year, he had the 3rd best inherited runners percentage in the majors.
John Gibbons likes to bring him in those situations, and he worked his magic. Did it again.
Kevin Pillar, he's a 1 for 2, but Barnes terrific. Bases loaded, nobody out. Dealing with Adam Jones, Pedro Alvarez, and Chris Davis.
Yeah.
The best they have to offer. There's a strike, 2-1 to Pillar. Kevin drove in the first run of the ball game with an RBI single in the first.
Slow breaking ball that time. Trying to change up on Kevin Pillar. Kevin's been very confident against Gausman.
There's that nasty splitter. He's had a good split all night long. John Axford loosening up. Barnes did a heck of a job. 2 strikeouts and a flyout to get out of the jam. One of the better fastballs we've seen from Gausman tonight, 94 miles an hour.
Yeah, he was 95 miles an hour in 2017, and I've seen him throw 97, 98 miles an hour when he's really feeling good. This year, he's toned it down just a little bit, taking 3 or 4 miles per hour off of his fastball, I think, to help him. Here it is right there. Get in the strike zone a little bit more consistent. Averaged 95 with the fastball last season, down to 92.5 this year.
Pillar strikes out. That's 6 strikeouts for Gausman. First out of the top of the 6th.
Looked like it was another splitter. And when it starts low like that, it's going to drop right out of the strike zone. But it's tough for a hitter to hold up on it. Good job by Cisco to block that one for his pitcher.
Brandon Grichuk, he's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Pops that breaking ball out of play. Donaldson getting the night off. Jay Happ's probably never heard Donaldson talk so much. Grichuk behind 0-2. Right off that splitter in the dirt. Blue Jays going to have to rally to get back in this ball game. They have not swept a series here against the Orioles since 2010. This has popped up. Chris Davis, the first baseman, into foul ground. And he'll make the catch, 2 away.
Hurry into Home Hardware Spring Scratch and Save event to save big for 2 days only on April 13th and 14th. Here's how.
Kevin Gausman gave the Blue Jays fits last year, and he's done it again so far tonight. He made 6 starts against the Blue Jays. He went 3-0 in those 6 starts. The Orioles won all 6 of his starts against Toronto. There's a drive to left field. Get up, ball. Get up, and God. Aledmus Diaz with his 3rd home run of the season. And once again, it's a 1-run game.
Getting close to the innings where the Blue Jays do their most damage. This will help. They have homered once again. I believe they've homered in every game but one of them this year. And Diaz gets that run right back with one swing of the bat.
They have homered in 12 of 13 games now. Third home run for Diaz. And that was a no-doubter. Blue Jays now have 19 home runs through 13 games.
Started him off with a breaking ball 1-0. So he says, I'm going to try and throw a fastball by him, but it's right there. 93 miles an hour, but it's middle in. And he has shown now that he's got some power. That power stroke is back like he had a couple of years ago. Four-seam fastball. See ya, right on the barrel.
8 home runs hit on the road for the Blue Jays. This is just their 6th road game. Gotten off to a decent start. He's played very well in the field. Diaz has.
That home run might make this the last inning for Kevin Gausman. He's approaching 100 pitches. There's some action down in the bullpen.
Lefty Richard Blyer. They just have one left-hander. They sent Nestor Cortez Jr. out after a rough outing here. Bailey rips it, but it's foul. Luke had a base hit his last time up and scored.
Love the approach of Luke so far early in the season. He's right on top of that plate. He's trying to turn on everything. He's a big guy, so maybe he's trying to unlock some power in that swing.
Full count, 2 outs. Shoots this one past Tim Leeper, the first base coach. Good take by Maley. He draws the 2-out walk. It's so important for the bottom third of the order to do something. Get on base. Get a base hit. Roger McDowell will go out to the mound. That's the first visit for the Orioles.
And I'm sure the message here for Kevin Gausman is, hey, this is your last batter right here. Whatever you have left in your tank, give me everything you got. Don't give in to Ngope. We saw that in spring training. We saw him hit a home run in spring training. So he got a little pop just like Diaz does.
Yeah, he put a charge in one in spring training. He's never hit a big league home run. I think John Gibbons would be thrilled to get him on base right here. 2 outs. A man at first. It's now a 1-run game thanks to the home run by Aledmus Diaz. Not a bad idea by Ngope.
No, Beckham was way back at third base. Not a lot of information on Gibden Ngope. They want to still play back, daring him to bunt if he wants to.
Got a good cutout.
Yeah, whatever you got left in the tank, give it to me. So he's humping up and throwing just a little bit harder. Those first 2 pitches to Ngope.
Gausman now ahead after throwing 2 fastballs that Ngope had good cuts on. You would expect him. He's going to get this splitter soon.
Yeah. Down.
Oh, that was a high splitter. Those are generally the only ones you hit hard.
The ones that are up. And again, if he starts it low, it's probably going to drop out of the strike zone.
You're right. I think this is Gausman's last batter. Up over 100 pitches now, and he's going to give everything he has to Ngope.
Yeah, he's got a little bit extra jump to his fastball in this at bat. Even that splitter was harder than the ones that we've seen tonight.
There's a good one for the strikeout. That ends the inning. But the Blue Jays close ground on the Orioles. Shortstop Melendez Diaz hits his third home run, a 2-out shot to the seats in left. The Orioles have a 4-3 lead, but the Blue Jays strike late in games. Start of the season here tonight in Baltimore. He pitched into the 5th inning, but he didn't get an out in the 5th. But he left the bases loaded. Danny Barnes came in and put out the fire. So Marker goes 4 + 3 batters, throws 87 pitches. He's charged with 4 earned runs on 6 hits.
Cruising through the first 3 innings, and then the Orioles made the adjustment. Looked like they started looking for that changeup, so he's out. Third pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays in. That's John Axford for the 6th time this year. Axis does not have a record. 2.08 earned run average. Fastball, cutter, curveball, two-seamer. Started throwing that two-seamer in 2016. He feels like it's really starting to come along for him.
Tim Beckham will start things off for the Orioles. Bottom third of the Orioles lineup. Beckham had a sac fly in the 4th inning. He drove in the 3rd run in that 3-run Orioles inning. His 4th RBI of the season.
Could have been worse. Not for a great play by Pilar in center field to run down that ball off the bat of Beckham.
Axford steered that one right into the dirt. It's a ball and a strike on Beckham. John worked in the opener of this series. He pitched the 9th inning, allowed a base hit, nothing more, had a strikeout. Axford has had a strikeout in 4 of his 5 previous outings.
He's got a great arm. Trying to get that ball in that strike zone with a little bit more regularity. He feels he can do that with that two-seamer. As I hold it just off the 2 seams, I like to feel the seams on my fingers, and I can get my thumb underneath that ball also. on a seam, and that's what helps me keep it in the strike zone.
It's a hard cutter, bounced in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
He showed that in spring training, that his ability to just pound that strike zone. He had a fantastic spring for the Blue Jays. Made the team very excited about pitching here for Toronto.
Good movement on that fastball. Gets Beckham to foul it out.
Had a very busy homestand when the Jays were at home to open up the season. The family was there. He celebrated a birthday, got to hang out with the kids. Now he's on the road. He said, really concentrate. I want to have a good road trip. My first road trip with the Blue Jays.
Took a shot at that outside corner. 97 miles an hour with good movement. Axford turned 35 on April 1st. Beckham with the full count. Craig Gentry is on deck, the right fielder. Ouch.
Tell you, that is nasty. Again, that 2-seamer, he just started throwing it a couple of seasons ago, and he says, I gained a lot of confidence in it. It's starting to come along. I feel good. He's really controlling it, and for a right-handed hitter, that thing is just dive bombing right in on your hands.
Axford's a big man. He's 6'5". He presents a very challenging angle, and you can see the movement, and Beckham hit it right off the front foot, right on the top of his toe. Maybe in the instep even a bit. Man.
Watch the movement that he gets. Luke Maley is set up on the outside corner. That thing came all the way to the inside corner.
Bounced off home plate. Diaz will have to hurry. He knew it, and he couldn't come up with it. So Beckham gets an infield hit. That was a do-or-die play for the shortstop, and you can see Axford say, hey, don't worry about it, man. There's nothing you could do. Beckham bounced it right off home plate, and Diaz had to wait for it and try to make the play all in one motion.
Yeah, if he hits it off the dirt, it's going to bury it in the dirt. It's going to be an easy play, but that one right off of home plate, he's going to try and catch and throw all in one motion. And even then, I don't know if you're going to get Beckham because he can really run.
So Beckham now has a hit. He's 1 for 2. Craig Gentry. He has been known to bunt in these situations. And Axford went to first just to see if Gentry might tip his hand.
He might be better off pushing the ball to the right side of the infield. You've got the second baseman, Gift Ngope, shading towards the bag in double play depth. There's a little area between Smoke, Axford, and Ngope. That's a little dead area if he wants to try and bunt it there.
Not bunting here. Hits it right to Ngope. He knocks it down. He'll have to go to first. They had a double play ball for sure. Ngope gloved it, but then in his haste to get the ball to second, dropped the ball, and all he can do is get Gentry at first.
Great pick at second base. He's showing some quick hands. But you're right. I think it's in the transfer. Catches it in the transfer. He was going to shovel that ball over to Diaz to get that lead runner. But he didn't panic. Picks the ball up and records the out over at first base.
You can bet he's disappointed. That was a tailor-made double play ball had he come up with it cleanly out of his glove. Chance Cisco has walked and doubled. Number 9 hitter. Cisco had an RBI double in the game last night. He drove in a tying run, the only RBI for the Orioles, as they had 3 consecutive hits, double, single, RBI double off of Sanchez in the 8th. Axford has pitched big late game situations his entire life. He led the National League in saves for Milwaukee in 2011. Ground ball, base hit through the left side. Beckham's around third. He's going to score. Cisco with another big hit for the Orioles. The rookie is delivering his third RBI of the series. And he gets that run back for Baltimore.
He was their #1 prospect heading into this year, showing why. Catching a good game the last 2 nights and helping out with the bat. Blue Jays are going to play him up the middle, the shortstop, and that's going to open up that hole on the left side of the infield. So he shoots for it with 2 strikes. Just rolls a ball right where the shortstop would be playing. Into the outfield, and that's going to score Beckham easily.
1 out for Trey Mancini, the leadoff man.
That's why you wish you could have got at least the lead runner on the Craig Gentry ball to the second baseman.
I think that ball hit Mancini. And if it did and he swung at it, he should be out. Watch this.
2-seamer in.
They hit him on the hand.
Hit him on the hand.
That ball had so much movement. He offered at it and looked like he hit him on the back of the index finger.
Watch this movement with the 2-seamer. Close enough to swing at it. It certainly did. Right on that top hand.
Oh, beginning to throw. Unfortunately, that Gentry ground ball looked like it was going to be a double play ball. Brian Ebel, the head trainer, checking on Mancini, fouled off the ball. And clipped his finger evidently at the same time.
See if he can swing the bat. Looks like he's going to be okay.
See if they get the field back. In the meantime, Axford's waiting. Beckham had a bounced base hit off home plate. A do-or-die play. He reached there on first to start the inning, and then Gentry the ground ball. Taylor made double play ball. Hard hit, but Ngope will tell you he should have turned 2. Didn't come out of the glove cleanly, and then Cisco had a base hit to the left side of the infield for the RBI. Nice block by Maley.
Having trouble getting that slider where he wants to, or that cutter to the right-hander. Luke recognizes that and smothers that thing, keeps it in front of him. I tell you, that ball is dive bombing so much he can throw that 2-seam sinker and get the ground ball that he needs.
One and one pitch. Now it's strike 2. Axford's movement creating problems for him. He can't really get that consistently in the strike zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Trey Mancini. He is 0 for 2 with a walk. Chance Cisco, the catcher's at first. Ground ball. That's going to sneak past Ngope into right. Poor Mancini. Last night he hit 3 rockets, had nothing to show for it. Tonight he gets a little fist job that sneaks through the infield for a base hit.
I don't think you can get discouraged if you're John Axford. He had a ball off the plate for an infield hit. You got what looked like a double play ball. They couldn't handle it. This one fisted. And he rolls it into the outfield. That ball barely was moving by the time it got to Grichuk. So he's making his pitches. Right now the ball's just finding the holes. He got a ground ball from Cisco. That would have been an out if the shortstop was playing up the middle, but he was shading, excuse me, in his regular position, but he was playing them up the middle.
Manny Machado's 2 for 3. His average up to 333. He's raised it 20 points tonight with those 2 hits. Manfred has had a good fastball this entire inning. And as you mentioned, Pat, they really haven't squared the ball up. The hardest hit ball was the ground ball off the bat of Gentry. Popped out into right field. Grichuk's going to get there, and he makes the catch as Machado's retired.
I think he broke his bats on that one. The thing is moving hard in on the right-handers.
Jonathan Scope. He, like Machado, with 2 hits tonight. Scope has driven in a pair. His second and third RBI of the season. A good grab by Maley. Everything has been down. Everything has moved, and that one took off on Axford.
I think that was by design. They wanted to go up. You can see Lucas up a little bit higher, not that high. That one got away from him. There was a time, Jonathan Scope, when he was a young player, they were hitting him down in the lineup as he was learning to hit, learning to become a big leaguer. Now he's hitting in a great spot for the Orioles.
He was overmatched on that last fastball. It's 1-1. Breaking ball missed. 2-1 now.
Trying to shorten up his stride just a little bit. He says he feels like that helps him get the ball out of the glove, and his timing helps the timing, so he gets his arm up and helps him to keep the ball down. He hasn't thrown 2 bad pitches. Hasn't had a lot of luck this inning.
Fastball has been consistently 95-96 with a lot of movement. He's got to save these 2 base runners. Keep it a 2-run game here. Got him with a cutter. So Axford strikes out Scope to strand a pair. The Orioles get an extra run. They now have a 5-3 lead. Top of the order for the Blue Jays. They'll face Richard Blyer when we come back to Baltimore. The Stanley Cup playoffs are underway. Lots of baseball action. Yankees are in Boston, and it's an 8-6 game as the Red Sox are clawing back in this. Richard Blyer making his 7th appearance of this season.
Blyer was actually in the Blue Jays organization. They picked him as a Rule 5 pick back in December of 2013. He has spent some time with the Nationals and the Yankees. They traded him to the Orioles in February of last season. Fastball, slider, changeup, and he tossed a season-high 3 innings in his last outing against the Yankees in one of those extra inning games that they had up in New York. That was his longest outing since 2017. They're only lefty in their bullpen.
Curtis Granderson leading the inning off, and Granderson just 1 for 4 against lefties, but he's had some good at-bats. He's worked a couple of walks against lefty pitchers.
He's had some good at-bats. Gonna have to do it against Blyer. 57 appearances last year. As a lefty, situational lefty.
Bounced foul wide of first. Well, this is where the Blue Jays have been at their best offensively. They have scored 27 runs in the 7th inning or later. That's the most in baseball. Darren O'Day, he took the loss in last night's game. Curtis Granderson hit a solo home run in the 9th off O'Day. And here Granderson strikes out. 1 out. Let's check it with Jamie Campbell. J.D. Martinez with his 2nd home run. Grand slam came off of Tanaka. 1 out. Justin Smoke will turn around and bat right-handed for the first time tonight. Smoke has gone 0 for 2 with a walk. He scored the Blue Jays' first run of the game back in the first, batting in the 2-hole tonight.
I have a feeling the Yankees and Red Sox are going to have a few more games like those tonight this season.
Back and forth.
I think they end up with each other. 3 games to end the season this year.
David Price went 1 inning left with some sort of sensation in his left hand, out of the game after an inning. Smoke takes a ball 2-1 now. Sharply hit. Machado deep in the hole. Long throw. What a play. Oh my. Machado was originally a shortstop coming through the minor league system. Then they decided they needed a 3rd baseman, so they asked him to make the transition. He looks right at home playing short.
What sets him apart, I think, from other shortstops is his soft hands and his rocket arm. This is on a line across the diamond with his momentum going away from first base. He gets to it. There's the soft hands, and there's the big arm to record the out. That is a long throw, and look at that, right on the money.
Terrific defensive play by Machado. Minerva Solarte, also a switch hitter, batting right-handed. You heard earlier Arash Madani, one of his reports, was talking about the preparation Machado does before the game and how the coaches will call out names of opposing batters to simulate those situations. Sky high, second baseman Scope in the outfield makes the catch. Easy inning for Richard Blyer. 3 up, 3 down. He gets to the top of the order. Great play by Machado. to retransmit it in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Third and final game of this series in Baltimore. Blue Jays will fly out after this game, go to Cleveland, enjoy an off day tomorrow before they resume play on Friday against the Indians. New pitcher into the game will be the fourth pitcher for the Jays, Sunwon Oh, making his 7th appearance.
We saw Oh on Sunday, a third of an inning. Gave up 2 hits to the Texas Rangers. In that ball game, he's 1-0 with a 360 earned run average. Last season, he led the Cardinals with 38 games finished. He's not going to pitch in that spot this year. That belongs to Roberto Osuna, but it can be a very valuable right arm out of that bullpen in these types of situations right here. Bridge guys, keep it a 0, throw a 0 up there, keep it a 2-run game, and maybe the Blue Jays can strike late again.
Osuna is down in the bullpen, sitting next to Brian Tepera. Jones starts things off for the Orioles. There's a breaking ball from O. Jones is 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. There's a slider, a little harder breaking ball. Jones struck out against Danny Barnes back in the 5th with the bases loaded. First of back-to-back strikeouts by Barnes, and he would get Chris Davis to fly out to leave the bases loaded. Terrific effort by Danny Barnes, saves 3 runs for Marco Estrada.
Yeah, Jones was the first batter that he faced, and always a tough hitter. I don't care what the numbers say right now. He's always been a tough hitter, and he's always been tough against the Blue Jays. You can see in his career 254 home runs. Big number against the Blue Jays.
High fastball. He strikes out for a 3rd time.
35 of those home runs against the Blue Jays, but not this time. They go upstairs one more time to get him for the 3rd time. Swinging tonight. High fastball from O.
Orioles have struck out 8 more times tonight. They have now struck out 139 times this season. Pedro Alvarez, he drew a big walk and scored on a sac fly in that 3-run 4th inning for Baltimore. Marco Estrada started the game and gave up 4 runs on 6 hits over 4+ innings of work.
O's just now getting, I think, into shape. Remember, he came into camp very late for the Blue Jays.
Ball is hit in the alley, and that's going to get down and go up against the wall. Richard plays it off the wall, gets it back in, but Alvarez has a 1-out double here in the 7th.
Fastball just a little bit better, but not placed where he needed it that time. He's a fastball hitter, Pedro Alvarez, and if you want to throw a fastball, you got to go down and away, and it's up, elevated. And Duck hooks that ball into right field hard. That's a pitch up and away that he goes out and gets and hooks past Grichuk for extra bases.
So Alvarez is in scoring position for Chris Davis. Davis made the final out of that 5th inning and stranded the bases loaded. But he had an RBI single in the 4th. His first base hit batting at home this season.
I think right now he's got a breaking ball type of bat speed. And I think the Blue Jays would be wise to just pound the fastball up. He's ready to swing at anything.
You're right. He's late again on the fastball. Just 90 miles an hour, but I think there's so much indecision in his mind right now that he just wants to make sure he doesn't flail at everything. And it's been a tough time for him.
That's what I mean. It looks like he just wants to swing and swing his way out of it. Well, I think you can get fastballs by it up or up and away.
Too far outside. It's 1-2. Chris Davis last season struck out 37.2% of the time. He has a strikeout tonight.
All of those hitters, home run hitters. So you got to take the good with the bad. Some lineups can sacrifice production for some home runs. You can sacrifice strikeouts as long as you hit home runs.
Base hit through the left side of the infield. Alvarez is being stopped at third. Granderson gets it in quickly. They were playing Davis in the shift. He stayed on the pitch away and drove it true shortstop into the left.
It looked again like some type of off-speed pitch. It wasn't that hard of a pitch. And when a guy's swinging the way he is, you want to heat him up. 81 miles an hour on that pitch. And that's the pitch he could hit. Just 81 miles an hour, and he just reaches out and just pokes it the other way for a hit.
Bobby Dickerson, the third base coach, throws up the stop sign, and Pete Walker checking with the bullpen. This is Tim Beckham. Beckham got things started in the sixth against John Axford. After fouling a ball off his foot, he was able to bounce one off home plate and reach safely on an infield single, and he came around to score on the base hit by Chance Sisco. Tim Meza loosening up for the first time. Vincent Meza has not pitched in 9 days competitively. Last pitched on April 2nd in spring training. Inside, 2-1. The Orioles now have 11 hits. They have scored 5 runs.
They shut him down here on Monday, hitting with runners in scoring position. Tonight, not so much. He's doing a better job hitting with runners on base.
It's popped up on the infield. And Gope makes the catch. So now there are 2 outs. Greg Gentry, the number 8 hitter. Looking ahead to the top of the 8th, Pierce, Pilar, and Grichuk, the scheduled batters for the Blue Jays. So these runs are huge if O can pitch out of this situation.
Yeah, it was clutch so that Davis' ball into the outfield. Alvarez was running. They had to hold him up. Now you got to save that run.
The Orioles have stranded 7 so far, and they left the bases loaded in the 5th. Stranded a pair in the 6th. Entry quickly behind 0-2. The Orioles tonight are 6 for 13 with runners in scoring position.
Much better. They were 0 for 11, I believe, on game 1.
Has the sign. 0-2 pitch. Got it. Called strike 3. So bends, doesn't break. Gives up a double and a single. The Orioles strand a pair. Darren O'Day coming into the game. He took the loss last night. It'll be Steve Pearce, Kevin Pillar, and Randall Grichuk for the Blue Jays as they trail by 2.
On Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. You can count on us to get home safe. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
Hit a shot of Oriole Park at Camden Yards. We're in Baltimore for the third and final game of this 3-game series, and the Orioles trying to salvage the final game. Lead at 5-3 as we head to the 8th. The new pitcher for Baltimore is Darren O'Day.
56 times now he has faced the Blue Jays in his career. Last night he picked up his first loss to the Blue Jays. That was the home run. He gave up the home run to Granderson. Overall this year he's 0-1 with that one loss with a 159 earned run average. Comes from down under, sinker slider.
Steve Pearce is the DH tonight. He has walked and lined out twice. Last time he hit a rocket to the third baseman with runners at first and second.
When O'Day is right, he's going to get a lot of ground balls with that sinker and the slider. He'll throw a changeup also. Doesn't give up many fly balls. That's what was impressive about the at-bat yesterday from Granderson with the home run.
Of course, O'Day always had trouble with Jose Bautista. Seemed like every time they faced one another, O'Day would either throw at him or Bautista hit a home run. Oh, 2. Pearce lays off a tough pitch. Blue Jays trail by 2. They've managed just 6 hits tonight. dribbler up the third base line, and that ball's got a chance to go back. It kicked the outside grass, the edge of the grass, and was headed back towards fair territory, and Beckham was there to pick it up. He was rolling foul, then hit the lip on the outside of the dirt and kicked back toward fair territory.
And as soon as you see this, here it comes. Go pick it up, because Pierce did the right thing. He ran down that line. Now, if the runner's standing at first base, or excuse me, at home, anticipating and not running to first base, anticipating that ball going foul, and it comes fair, pick it up when it gets into fair territory.
Jam shot dribbled back to the mound as Pierce is retired. John Gibbons Blue Jays have scored the most runs from the 7th inning on in the majors. They've scored 27 runs in the 7th inning or later. Orioles are second, Tigers then the Angels, both tied with 19. But the Blue Jays, they have come up with some big hits against the back end of some of these bullpens.
And with big hits, big home runs, like the Josh Donaldson grand slam in the 9th inning here on Monday. Justin Smoke has a late inning grand slam. We've already talked about the Granderson home run yesterday, so they've done it with the long ball.
Donaldson hit a grand slam here on Monday in the 9th inning and busted wide open. His 4th career grand slam. Kevin Pillar drove in the first run of the ball game with an RBI single in the first. There are no secrets between O'Day and the Blue Jays. As Pat mentioned, he's making his 56th appearance against the Blue Jays. He's worked a total of 51 1/3 prior to this game.
And there's the one loss right there, thanks to Curtis Granderson.
3-0 to Pillar.
You can rely on, that's a slider, three-row slider you can rely on, because he barely walks people. 64 games last year for O'Day. He only had 24 base on balls. Sinker, slider. He'll elevate the fastball at times with 2 strikes. What you have to do, I think, is set your sights down, because he keeps the ball down very effectively.
He made 2 great pitches after falling behind 3-0 and used the slider to do it. Three sliders in a row after he fell behind 3-0. Pillar thought the last one might have been off the plate outside. But O'Day never came back with the fastball and threw 3 great sliders in a row.
Never showed it to him. Pillar thought that one was a little bit further out than the previous pitch. But he gets the call, and he comes all the way back.
Tyler Clippert loosening up for the Blue Jays. Meza had thrown a bit. He has taken a seat. Brando Grichuk waves at that first pitch, falls behind 0-1.
Keep pounding that ball up. He'll do that, O'Day, every now and then. You know, I was just talking about setting your sights down low, but he has that ability to come from down under and throw that ball at the upper parts of the strike zone.
outside. It's 1-2.
Going for the strikeout there. Overthrew that slider, and he's knocking down billboards now behind home plate.
Threw 3 great sliders to Pilar after he was down 3-0. Two now. The man on deck, Aledmus Diaz, homered his last time up. His 3rd home run of the season.
2-run lead. I think you got to challenge him right here. Even if he knocks it out of the ballpark, you're still winning.
Check swing roller up the first baseline. Blue Jays have averaged 5.36 runs per game, 5th most in the majors, but tonight they've been held in check. Just 3 runs to this point. Popped up behind home plate. Chance Cisco will watch it sail over the screen and out of play.
Challenged him right that time with the fastball. He doesn't want to walk him. He's got a guy on deck who's already hit a home run tonight, so he's got to challenge him. Darren O'Day now in his 7th season with the Orioles.
Anderson with a 9th inning home run off O'Day. Last night, the game winner. Made a winner out of Aaron Sanchez. Fly ball to right. Gentry is there. Pitches retired. 3 up, 3 down. O'Day with a good 8. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Moment last night for him, getting to 100 saves faster than anyone in the history of the game. And Osuna said he wasn't even aware the milestone was coming until his younger brother told him about it. Now, the Osunas, after all, are a baseball family, and the call went to Dad last night, and his father just repeated to him how proud he was of his son. It sunk in then to Roberto of what he had accomplished. He told me today, I was thinking that just 5 years ago I was in the minor leagues making no money, having no money, and now all of this has happened. All of this, Buck, includes making baseball history.
Absolutely. He's also tied Billy Kotz for the 3rd most saves in franchise history. Trailing just Tom Henke and Dwayne Ward. 100 saves. He's 23 years old. Great start to his career.
Great start. They put him in that closer's role after Miguel Castro couldn't get the job done for the Blue Jays in 2015. They haven't looked back.
Tyler Clippard into the ball game. Chance Cisco goes after the first pitch and hits a high fly ball to center. Clippard, another one of the veterans brought in to fortify the bullpen, and he has done a good job. This is his 7th appearance.
Yeah, John Gibbons will keep riding that hot hand. That clip's been very hot for the Jays. He worked 3 days ago, 2/3 of an inning, had a walk and strikeout against the Rangers. Fastball splitter and that great changeup. He always has that in his back pocket that he can use it at any time. I think he's been very impressive that he can handle left-handers also. He's not just a guy who can just get righties out.
Yeah, he's always been good against lefties because of that great changeup, and he's added a split finger pitch that he'll use against righties. Trey Mancini had a base hit through the right side of the infield his last time up. One pitch. The Orioles don't have their regular closer available. Zach Britton has a torn Achilles. He's making rehabs now, and Brad Brock has taken over in the closer's role.
That looked like the splitter. He's not afraid to throw that to the righties. Mancini thought that ball was off the plate.
Fly ball into center. Pilar drifting to his right makes the catch. 2 fly ball outs for Clippard here in the 8th. Tyler takes the sting out of the bat. There's no question about that.
With the great changeup that he could use to the lefties, and now he's added that splitter. It's pretty nasty. He hasn't given up too many hard hit balls so far this year.
Manny Machado, he's had a good night again. 2 more hits tonight for Machado. He's 11 for his last 25. He wails at that first pitch.
That looked like it might have cut a little bit.
Upstairs. 1-1 now to Machado. Way upstairs.
Of the veterans that the Blue Jays have signed, you mentioned some of them to fill up that bullpen. Axford, and now Tyler Clippard. I think at least early on this season, Clippard's been the best.
It's a long drive, but it's going to be foul.
He's pitched as a setup man. He has pitched as a starter in his career. He's actually closed games. So far for the Blue Jays, he's done a good job.
Coming into this game, the opponents have hit 105 against Clippard. 2-2 pitch. Swung and missed, and Bailey puts the tag on him. That's a strikeout. Another good inning for Clippard. 3 up, 3 down in the 8th. We'll go to the 9th. The Blue Jays need a 9th inning rally against Brad Brock. 2018 Civic Type R.
Ledmez Diaz will come to the plate in a 2-run game with 2 outs in the 6th inning and take this Kevin Gausman pitch way deep to left field, turning on that 1-0 fastball. This is his 3rd home run of the season, and no doubter down the left field line. With the Blue Jays within 1 run, that is tonight's drive of the game. He has shown some pop early on.
Is his 3rd home run, as Pat mentioned, his rookie season with the Cardinals. He had 17, made the All-Star team. The 3rd relief pitcher for Baltimore, Brad Brock, making his 7th appearance of the season.
Speaking of the All-Star team, this was an All-Star for the Orioles as a setup man. He was outstanding in that role. Now with the injury to Zach Britton, who's taken over as the closer.
Craig Gentry moves from right to left. First pitch swinging. Diaz pops up. Beckham, the 3rd baseman, comes down to make the catch. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. He's got an update for us. So the rivalry is back. Game 2 of the season. They already have emptied the benches. 1 out. Luke Maile. Luke's done a nice job again tonight with the bat. He's been on base twice with a base hit and a walk. He's 1 for 2. He's got another base hit. Maile's 2 for 3.
He just looks like a different hitter, doesn't he? He had a double in his last game against Texas, and he's got 2 more hits tonight.
So Maile's aboard. That'll bring up the tying run to the plate. Good swing by Maile as he gets his 2nd hit. He jumps all over that high fastball from Brad Brock.
Yeah, it's an aggressive swing, an all-out swing. So that'll get the tying run to the plate.
Devin Travis is coming to the plate as a pinch hitter for Gift Ngope. Ngope started at 2nd, went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. So Travis is pinch hitting here. Big part of the ball game with Granderson on deck. 1 out. Can the Blue Jays do it again? Score more late in the ball game. They scored a 9th inning run last night to win it.
The home run again has been a big part of their play late. I'll get another runner on base and then hit a home run.
2-0. Travis just 2 for 3 as a pinch hitter. Swings and hits it to left field. Gentry backs up right in front of the warning track and makes the catch. Curtis Granderson comes up. He came up big last night in the 9th inning against Darren O'Day.
Tried to elevate a fastball with 2 strikes to Curtis, and he got all of it. Right into his swing path, and that's the game winner to right field. His first home run as a Blue Jay, and it turned out to be a big one.
So Granderson singled in the 1st. He's 1 for 4. Interesting. He's just 0 for 1 against Brad Brock. Maile takes off for 2nd. He'll get there uncontested. Not a stolen base as the defense didn't cover.
Yeah, a run doesn't mean anything. They weren't even holding them on.
2-0. Now remember, Justin Smoak's in the 2 spot. Tonight, with the adjustments to the batting order, Smoak was put in the 2 spot for the first time in his career. So Granderson will do what he can to get on base. Takes a strike.
Taken all the way 2-0. He knows how important getting on base means to the team with the guys behind him.
Curtis has hit 20 ninth-inning home runs. Bailey's running again. It's 3 balls and a strike to Granderson. Ground ball. Beckham, first base. That's the ball game. Granderson grounds out. Brock picks up the save, and the Orioles salvage the final game of this 3-game series. But the Blue Jays win another series, and they beat the Orioles 2-1 in this 3-game set.
Yeah, all you can ask for in the 9th inning against the closer. Give me a chance. Get that tying run to the plate.